tutorial. Today we're going to be talking about creating molds for silicone. This one is for a phone stand that I've built, and hopefully by the end of this video, you can build one of your own. Let's jump right in. Okay, jumping right into this mold that we're going to be building, we need to understand that it's first built and is going to be filled with silicone. So as we're designing this, we need to decide how we're going to be able to remove the object from the mold. So in this case, it's not going to make a lot of sense to have a product that I build a box around and have it cut this way because I won't be able to move this lip out. And so in this case, I actually need to be able to have the box that I build this in split right down the center so that I can remove one half of the box and then pull the mold out. So that's how we are going to design this. You will need to think how to apply that to your particular object. So I'm going to go to this right side and we're going to do a simple sketch. And it's important that I do this on this middle plane because of the way that I'm going to use that later to split the object. And so we're going to start here, and very quick and easy. I need some space around this for the mold. We can come in and trim up stuff later, but I'm going to start with lots of space here. So somewhere in there. And make sure that your entire object is encompassed. You can see I've got this big chunk here. I really don't need that, so we're going to actually take that out before we really get started. And somewhere in here, just give me a rough estimate of what this is going to look like so we can finish this sketch. And my next thing that I want to do is to just do a simple extrude of this here. And again, this is in the middle. So instead of doing a one side, we're going to make this symmetric. And we're going to pull to the outside. And if you notice, I'm actually cutting this object. So we're going to fix this here in just a second. And I'm going to pull this to 110. My internal object is about 85 millimeters. So instead of join, cut, I just want to make this a new body. And we're going to say, okay. So now I have my internal and the shell for the mold we're going to be building. So I'm going to turn the inside body back on, and we are going to use that to cut out of the main body. So very quickly, I'm going to go to this combine tool, and we're going to use it in a different manner. So we'll select the combine tool. The target body is going to be our big shell. And then the tool body, which is the inside, is going to be, I'm going to turn off the outside shell so I can get to the tool body, which is our actual phone holder at this point. And I'm going to use a cut operation. And we want to make sure in this case, I keep the tools. If I don't check this, it's going to delete body number 2. Okay, so moving on, we're going to say okay. And I'm going to have to just assume that that's right. Now, there is some stuff I can look at. I can do a simple inspect and come down to section analysis. And now I can pull this through here and you'll see, hey, look, if I turn this one off, I can clearly see that this is working. So we'll just hit cancel, bring it back to here, turn this one on. My next step is going to be to split this into 2 parts. So we're going to choose body number 3, and we're going to go to a simple split body. And the body we want to split is body 3. The splitting tool that we want to use is going to be this center plane. You can see it's right there in the middle. And say, okay. Now, I've done this where I split it much higher up, especially in an object like that, I could do that. And I've found that it's actually a little bit tougher to get the mold out. So I like to split them right in the middle, just in my experience on this. You can do that however you would like. So I've got 2 parts now. We've got our sections of the body. And you can see if I turn that on, this is essentially what my mold is going to look like sticking out of one half of the body. Now, in order to make this work properly, there's a few things that I've found that are really helpful. At this point, you probably could make this almost work, but there's a few things we're going to work on. So first off, I need to have some way to get the silicone into this mold. So I'm going to start on body 3 and just do a simple sketch. Make sure I'm on the farthest point here. And I like to do this from the inside to the outside so I know I am getting everything in the right spots. And I'm going to add a simple, I like 5 millimeters. If we can get it to jump to that. I'm just going to hit 5 millimeters. And that seems to be a good number for the silicone tips that I use. A recommendation, go measure the tip of the silicone that you're going to be pumping into here and make sure you create something that's the right size. Okay, so I've got that created. Quickly going to select it, do an extrude, and pull this through here and say okay. And now you'll notice, hey, look, I've got a hole in there. I do like to go to this and just clean something up while I'm thinking about it. Grab, and we're just going to add a little fillet to this side. Maybe 2.5 right there. Looks pretty good. Say okay. And that'll just help with getting it filled in. Okay, there is a way to inject the mold. The next thing is I want to make sure my mold is always aligned. So in order to do that, I usually use 4 pins. In something like this, I could probably get away with 3, but just because I like to make sure things are done correctly, we're going to add 4 pins to this that are going to hold it together. So I'm going to do create a sketch, grab this side of our object here, and we're going to create 4, I like square pins. It's totally up to you if you use a square or a circle. I'm going to use a center rectangle. And I like, for something like this, I like my molds to be around 6 millimeters by 6 millimeters. So I'm going to say 6 by 6. Hit enter, and then I'm just going to duplicate this 4 times. So I'm just going to select all sides by holding shift. And we're going to then do a simple right click copy. Looks like we missed one. So let's copy all these again. Copy, paste this. I'm going to pull one directly here. Say okay. I'm going to paste another option, and we are going to kind of set this one somewhere down in here. Okay, and then we're going to do one more where we're going to pull it across. See if we can line these up, and then pull it down to somewhere in there. Okay, so now I've got where my pins are going to go, and I'm going to leave them like this for the time being, and we're going to finish this sketch. Okay, so next step, we're going to grab all 4 of our pins that we're going to be building and pull these out. And I like 10 for this. Seems to be a pretty good number. And we're going to make sure we're on join and say, okay. So there are my basic pins. Next step is I need to cut holes from this body out of this body here so that they have somewhere to go. So remembering that order, this is the tool that's going to be cutting. This is our tool. We're going to turn body 4 on, and we're going to do a combined select body 4. Our target body is going to be body number 3. And again, make sure our keep tool is selected and say, okay. Now when I turn off body 3, if I spin this around, you will notice, hey, we have 4 holes. Unfortunately, those holes aren't going to work. Most 3D printers need a tolerance of 0.3. My particular printer needs a tolerance of 0.25. So we're going to go add that. And one way to add that, which is what I'm going to do today, is just simply creating a sketch on top of that. So we'll say create, come down to a rectangle, center rectangle. And if I've done this right, it should, see if I can zoom in, snap into place like that. And I am just going to go and set these right at 6. Going to do another one right at 6. One more. See if we can get this to snap to the center. Right at 6. And the final one at 6. Now, you may be asking, why don't you just make them bigger? I have always done it this way. It gives me a better tolerance. not much of a math guy. So in this case, I'm just going to trust by adding an offset that I can make these work. So again, I said my offset needs to be negative 0.25. By the way, if anybody knows how to add this to multiple at one time, please let me know in the comments, because that would be a great time saver. Again, 0.25. If you don't know your printer tolerances, I actually have a video on that. You should go check out. I'll put it right above right now. Add one more, 0.25, and do our final one at 0.25. So a little bit of a process, but hopefully this pays off and makes sure that our objects fit really tight together. We're going to say finish this sketch, and we are going to just do a very simple extrude on these. So select both the internal and the external on all of these. Zoom in if you have to, as far as you can, to get that little tiny sliver that's on the outside. And one more. Now, we know that this is coming into this object 10 millimeters. I'm actually going to go a little bit further because I want to make sure that my object bottoms out every time. So right now we're at 10. I'm going to go to 10.3, just making sure that we always get a very, very tight seal in here. You could even go to 10.5. It really doesn't matter. They're going to be square and they're going to be really snug at that point. So we're going to leave them there. And now I've got essentially a mold that I can pour into. One thing that I like to keep in mind is, how is my mold going to stay together? In this mold, I actually use rubber bands. So I'm going to show you how I do that. We're going to turn both of these on, and there's our section there. So I use 2 rubber bands on this mold, which I'm going to show you really quickly. So I'm going to just do one more sketch. So our final sketch of the project, and come down, just do a simple rectangle. And I do a 2x5 wherever we feel like doing. So we're just going to go 2 and 5 on the, change that to 5 on the width. And we're going to set that one there. And really quickly, I have found the best way is to just copy these again. So we're going to select all these, hold shift, click on all the lines, right click, copy, and then Command V, Control V, depending on what you're looking at, and drag this all the way down to the other side. Now this is going to act as a slot for my rubber bands to fit in. And we're close, not quite there. And it's okay if it goes over a little bit. You don't have to be perfect with this. Maybe we come in here and I could try to get it with a 5 there. Oh, perfect. We'll say, okay, it just has to make sure it goes to the edge. Okay. And then we're going to do one more here. Again, I like to make sure these stay really tight. So somewhere in here, 5x2, enter, do one more copy with all these. So clicking all the lines, a lot of duplication in here. Yes, I could have copied it and flipped it. That's just fine. Just chose not to. Try that one more time. Copy, paste. There we go. And we're going to pull this across. Okay, so now I've got these slots we're going to go cut out really quick. And we essentially have a finished product, and we are done. Grab this, grab these, this one, and this one. Again, these don't have to be crazy big. It's just enough that, make sure I grab the right stuff here. Try this one more time. This one, this one, this one, and this one. And we're just going to pull down through and say, okay. So now I've got little grooves for my rubber bands to fit in. At this point, we are done. Anything I do here would be just to save some filament. So if I want to save a little bit of filament, I can grab this and turn these down. By the way, should be able to print these very easily and just lay them on their sides, print them, and shouldn't have any issues for this object, and you shouldn't, in all honesty, for any of the molds that you build if they're built in this way. Anyway, let me know down in the comments what you think. Is this going to work for you? Thanks for sticking to the end, and we'll see you next time.